Most cruise passengers think their cabin steward is just there to make the bed, change towels, and disappear. But that's exactly why most people miss out on some of the best upgrades on the entire ship. Because the truth is, your cabin steward can quietly make your room more comfortable, solve problems faster than guest services, help you avoid wasting money, and even unlock things most passengers never realize they can ask for. The difference between an average cruise and a smooth, upgraded one often comes down to just a few smart requests. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what to ask, when to ask it, and how to use your cabin steward the smart way, so you can get more comfort, better service, and way more value from your cruise. So let's start with number 1. What you should ask for the moment you board. The first few hours of your cruise matter more than most people realize. Most passengers walk into the cabin, drop their bags, take a quick look around, and move on with the day. But smart cruisers know that this first meeting with the cabin steward can shape the rest of the trip. Instead of treating it like a simple hello, they use it to make the entire cruise smoother, easier, and more comfortable. Start by asking what is included with your cabin. Some perks are easy to miss because cruise lines do not always explain every detail clearly, and small extras can change depending on the ship, sailing, or booking type. Next, ask what passengers usually request. This is one of the easiest ways to find out what is actually available, from extra towels and hangers to robes, pillows, blankets, or ice. Then ask when your room can be serviced based on your routine. That way, cleaning happens while you are out enjoying the ship, not while you are resting, showering, or getting ready. This first conversation is not about asking for too much. It is about setting things up early, so your room works better for you from the very start. Once day 1 is handled right, the next step is making your cabin far more comfortable. Number 2, simple cabin upgrades for better sleep and comfort. Most cruise passengers walk into their cabin and accept it exactly as it is. Even when the bed feels awkward, the room feels tight, and the sleep setup is far from ideal. That is where many people go wrong. A few small requests can make a standard cabin feel much more comfortable without changing the room itself. Start with the bed setup. In many cruise cabins, space is limited, so even a small layout adjustment can make a big difference. If the room feels cramped, ask if the bed can be moved closer to the wall to create a little more open floor space. And if 2 twin beds have been joined into one, do not just live with that uncomfortable line in the middle. Ask if a mattress topper or bed bridge is available to smooth out the gap and make the bed feel more like one proper mattress. Even a small improvement here can make falling asleep much easier after a long day on board. Then fix the sleep basics. Ask if they have different pillow options, because the standard ones are not always the most comfortable. Request an extra blanket before you need it on a colder night, and if you sleep better with airflow or white noise, ask early if fans are available, since they are usually limited. These simple comforts often matter more than people expect. That extra comfort often improves the whole cruise experience, too. Number 3, hidden room extras that make a big difference. Some of the best cabin upgrades are not the big flashy ones that get advertised before a cruise. They are the smaller extras most passengers never think to ask for, even though they can make the room much easier to use every single day. Start with the closet. Ask for extra hangers as early as possible, so you do not spend the whole cruise pulling clothes in and out of a suitcase. It seems like a small detail, but it makes unpacking easier, keeps wrinkles down, and helps the room feel less cluttered. If robes matter to you, ask on the first day even if your cabin category does not officially include them. Many ships still have extras available, and a polite request can sometimes get you one. Little conveniences like that can make the cabin feel more like a personal space, instead of just a temporary room. Then look at the bathroom. In a small cruise cabin, even a few simple additions can make a noticeable difference. Extra towels, another bath mat, and more hand towels can help keep the space drier, cleaner, and easier to manage. You can also ask about face cloths, a magnifying mirror, or a sharps container if any of those would make your routine easier. These are not luxury upgrades, but they can make mornings smoother and help the room function better for the rest of the trip. And do not ignore the minibar. On many ships, those items are overpriced and only take up valuable space. Ask if it can be emptied so you can use it as your own fridge for water, soft drinks, snacks, or medicine. That simple request can free up useful storage and make the cabin work much better for you throughout the cruise. But having extra items brought to your room is only half the advantage, because your steward can also help when things go wrong. Number 4. How your steward can save you from cruise problems. Most passengers head straight to guest services the moment something goes wrong, but experienced cruisers often do something smarter first. They talk to their cabin steward. That simple move can save time, reduce stress, and help you avoid standing in long lines for problems that may have a quicker fix. On a busy ship, that can make a big difference, especially when everyone else is heading to the same desk with questions and complaints. If your luggage gets damaged, your charger disappears, or you realize you forgot an adapter, do not panic right away. Ask your steward first. They often know who to contact, what basic items may be available on board, or how to point you toward the fastest solution without sending you all over the ship. Even when they cannot fix the issue personally, they can often save you time by directing you to the right place immediately. They can also help with more specific issues inside the cabin. If you need a safer setup, extra support, or help with something practical in the room, your steward is often the quickest link to the right department. Instead of explaining the problem to multiple people, you may be able to start with the one person who already knows your cabin and your situation. That familiarity can make small problems feel much easier to handle. That is the real value. It is not only about what they can bring. It is about how quickly they can connect you to answers and help solve problems before they eat into your vacation. The sooner you ask, the easier it often is to get things sorted out. And once you realize how much they know, the smartest move is to start using that knowledge to save money and make port days easier. Number 5. Money-saving tips and port advice from the crew. Your cabin steward can help with more than what happens inside your room. They can also help you make smarter choices off the ship, save money, and avoid mistakes that many passengers only realize too late. Most travelers think of their steward as someone who only handles towels, cleaning, and basic cabin requests, but experienced cruisers know they can also be a useful source of practical advice that makes the whole trip run more smoothly. Take laundry as an easy example. Many people send clothes out early in the cruise and pay full per-item prices without thinking twice. A better move is to ask your steward when the flat-rate laundry special usually appears. On many cruises, that offer shows up later, and passengers who know to wait can save a surprising amount. It is a small question, but the answer can help you avoid spending more than necessary for something routine. Stewards can also be useful when it comes to port advice. The official talks on board often sound polished and safe, but they are not always the most practical. If you want to know which areas feel safer, where to find a reliable taxi, or where the crew goes for simple local food that is not overpriced, your steward may have much more useful real-world insight. That kind of advice can be far more helpful than the generic recommendations many passengers rely on. They may also know where to find better Wi-Fi near the port, the nearest real pharmacy if you suddenly need one, or the easiest way to avoid common tourist traps. That kind of guidance can save money, cut stress, and make each stop feel much easier, smoother, and more enjoyable. Once you know what to ask for on land, the next step is making onboard service fit your routine instead of interrupting it. Number 6. How to control your room service and special requests. One of the easiest ways to improve your cruise is to stop letting cabin service happen at random. Most passengers wait for the knock, deal with the timing, and keep adjusting their day around it. But a better move is to set the pattern early, so the service works around your schedule instead of interrupting it. That simple conversation can make the cabin feel much easier to live in, especially on sea days or during a busy itinerary when you do not want to keep working around unexpected visits. Tell your steward when you are usually out of the room, whether that is during breakfast, the gym, dinner, or evening shows. That makes it much easier for them to clean while you are gone, so you come back to a refreshed cabin without awkward interruptions or unwanted timing. Instead of hearing a knock when you want to nap, shower, or relax, you can return to a space that has already been taken care of. This is also the best moment to mention any special needs. If you use a CPAP machine, ask about a cruise-approved extension setup. If you need distilled water, extra tea or coffee supplies, or any small item that makes your daily routine easier, bring it up early rather than later. The earlier your steward knows, the more likely those details can be handled smoothly before they become a problem. Even the small requests matter. If you want towel animals, ask for them. If you would rather skip them and keep things simple, say that too. Small choices like these help shape the room around your comfort and make the experience feel more personal. But even though your steward can do a lot, there are still limits, and knowing them matters just as much. Your cabin steward can improve a lot about your cruise, but they are not able to do everything. They cannot break ship rules, ignore safety policies, or suddenly provide items the ship simply does not have. So, the smartest approach is to ask politely, stay realistic, and understand that some limits are out of their hands. What is possible will also depend on the cruise line, the ship, and your cabin type. A luxury ship may offer more options than a budget sailing, and even then, some things may still be limited by supply or policy. That is why it helps to see your steward as a helpful professional, not someone expected to perform miracles. And this is where attitude starts to matter. Passengers who act entitled often receive only the most basic service. But the ones who speak respectfully, ask clearly, and appreciate the help usually get a much better experience throughout the cruise. In the end, the real trick is not being demanding. It is knowing what to ask, when to ask, and how to ask. Once you understand that, your cabin stops feeling like just a place to sleep and starts feeling like a real part of your vacation. Now that you know how to use your cabin steward the smart way, you will never look at that first cabin meeting the same again.